Flosstube. I'm back. It has been like 2 years since I last did a Flosstube. I just got busy, and it takes kind of a long time to set them up sometimes to get everything ready to go and get everything out, and I have not done it. I'm sure I had time in 2 years, and I just didn't. But I wanted to come back. I debated about doing a WIP parade to be back, but I decided to just do my fall WIPs because that is what I'm going to try to focus on. At the beginning of the year, I thought, okay, this year I'm going to get all of my WIPs done, or not all of my WIPs, but a lot of my big WIPs. So I will focus on like a big WIP and work on it till it's done, and then get just do small in the meantime to fill it in. That lasted until the end of February. I did get, and I didn't bring it down, Consider the Lilies done, and that was my big one that I worked on in January. I mostly worked on that, and then some little winter small ones, and then but by the time I was done in February with Consider the Lilies, I did not want to work on big ones for a while. And I'll show you, I did get sidetracked with one thing that I have here framed, and I'll show you in a minute. It was one of my sidetracks that took a lot longer than I thought. I kind of thought it was a smaller one. I don't really look at the stitch count. I usually, when I go to Shepherd's Bush is my LNS, and I'll usually just have them cut fabric for me, and I don't pay a lot of attention, and I thought it was small, and it definitely was not. My other thing that I really wanted to work on this year was the Prairie Schooler muffs, and I will talk about those. And then I'll show you my fall WIPs that I have, and I really want to tackle those and get as much of them done as I can in the next couple months. I will possibly have one new start, and I'll show you what I want to do. It's one of the Prairie Schooler things. And yeah, and my Sunday stitch has replaced Consider the Lilies. And I'll show you those as well. I don't know, a lot's been going on in the last 2 years, so I probably won't go into it. Just kid stuff mostly. My husband, before COVID, he worked like 2 miles from our house. And then during COVID, they had him start working from home, but then they ended up closing that office, so he's been home since. He's about to go back into the office at least 3 days a week, which is actually going to be pretty far from our house, about 45 minutes away. So we've got that coming up. We've got school starting. My kids are all excited, and I'm trying not to cry. I like to just have our own schedule and not have to worry about all this other stuff. And I don't like. I used to teach school. I just don't like to have so many demands on us. But I feel like this summer we've kind of had a lot anyway, just with different camps and stuff that my kids have been doing. So anyway, my kids are now, I have a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, so I'll have like a senior and a 9th grader, and a one that is almost 11 and he'll be in 5th grade, and then a 9-year-old who will be in 4th grade. So they're getting old. I don't know. We're just keep on going, I guess. And anyway, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's happened, but nothing big in the last 2 years. So, well, I guess big stuff to us, but anyway. So, I'm going to talk about some of the summer finishes I've had just fairly, like in the last year or recently. And I only brought a few things to show you, and I'll save others for other episodes because I want to have stuff to show. So this is one of them that I have done. This is the Prairie Schooler Summer. And I actually framed it myself. I just pinned it on here. And I have this frame. It says $5.95 on it was how much I paid for it. It's probably older than my oldest too. Like I said, it's 20. And it was to frame. I could just buy it at my craft store back then, and it was to frame specific embroidery patterns. And I had bought it, and I don't think I ever finished the embroidery, but I have this one. So I've set this in here. The other ones will fit in here. I do have autumn done, and I did not frame it this way. I did something else with it. And so, but I have this, and I intend to do winter and spring, and I intended to do them this year, and they didn't even get started. So this I switched out, and I think that pattern has a swan, but you know how on Prairie Schooler they have the little ones that like that you can kind of switch out for them, and so that's what I did here. So Summer from Prairie Schooler, and I just used the called for colors, and I think this is something about a moon, the color, and I can't remember what it was. It was really easy to stitch on. It's 32 count, and I think it's just a Zweigart color. Oh, I should mention too, I have filmed a few other Flosstubes, and then for whatever reason, like I filmed one, and I think there was something weird when I went to put it online, and it was super garbled, and we couldn't fix it, and so then I just never filmed another one, and that's kind of what got me off, I think, doing Flosstubes, is frustration with that. Okay, I know a lot of people are stitching bee and summer things right now, and this is what I did last year about this time of year. So I'm trying to remember what it's called. I can't remember. Something about a garden. And it's got definitely garden themed. And then I got it framed at the Craft Center, Fine Stitchery in Salt Lake. And I have been getting a lot of things framed from her. She does a great job. I did do Consider the Lilies, and I couldn't have it framed from her because it was too big. If you do it on 36 count, I think it's small enough, but I did it on 32, and she said it was too big. She can't do things that are that big because it's just her and then just a small framing thing. They don't do, I think they only do cross stitch or embroidery type things. So anyway, but she did do this, and she always does a great job. Okay, now the last finished one that I'm going to show you, or fully finished for now. I have some more fully finished that I'll show you later. But it is this. Let's see. So this is the day. And I did put there the call for colors, except for this bottom sheet. I did in pebble. And then I changed up here. There was like a flying goat, so I put another bird there and a few more bees, and changed it. This one I actually had framed at Frameworks in Layton, Utah, and I just wondered, it was closer to me, and I've had a good experience. That's where I took Consider the Lilies after Craft Center couldn't do it, and so anyway, I ended up taking it there, and they're only like a week and a half out or something like that, so I got it back quickly, but I will still be using Jamie, of course, at Craft Center, but I wanted this on my wall. I have a child who tends to live for whatever's coming next. Things will be better just when this happens. When this happens, everything will be better. But I want him to start focusing more on making today good and today count, instead of just always waiting for the next thing. So, and that's actually why I stitched this in the first place. So this is the day. And I stuck it in my entryway so that he has to pass it multiple times a day. So, and my husband's like, he's a boy, he's not even going to notice. And I was like, well, guess what? Maybe it'll subconsciously sink in or something. Okay. So I told you at the beginning of the year that I wanted to do the Prairie Schooler month. And the first thing that made me want to do them was the January one, which I love. And I wish I had framed this a little bit differently. I think I made my backs a little bit too wide on this one. And I wish, I may take it off and see if I can turn it down. But, and it's just on this wood pedestal. So this is January, and I used Lori Holt's color conversion, and it's just DMC. And I love how it turned out. I love having things for January that are winter, but no Christmas. And I'm going to try and work on some of those things this year as it gets time. So anyway, January by Prairie Schooler, and I love how it turned out. And then I also did the small one that goes with it. And this one I think I've shown on here before. I've had this one done for a while, but then I did the actual rest of the January. And then I did the bigger January just this year, since like starting after Christmas. But I had done right before, well, at Christmas time, I had worked on December, and I have not gotten it fully finished. But here's December, and it falls off. This reminds me of a flannel board. When I was little, we used to love flannel board stories. They're probably a relative of the 70s, I don't know. I grew up in the 80s. My parents had a flannel board, and we loved to do little stories on there. Like, it seems like a lot of them were like church stories. I don't know. Anyway, here's December. These are a lot more stitching than you think they're going to be. This is all solid, and it's like total number of stitches. It's not a lot for the whole. Like, this is a small piece. But then because it's stitched dense, it takes a long time. So, December. So then I was going to do February because I was done in January early, but I wanted to work on some winter things, so I didn't even get February started. And I skipped to, well, then I was going to do March, but we were already partway through March, so I skipped to April. Stick it up here so that it's a little more. So April. And again, it's just the called for colors. But it'll be fun to switch them out once I get them done. I'm hoping this next year I can get everything done that I didn't get this year. I would like to get 6 done this year. I don't know if that's going to happen. I was going to start August, but I ended up starting something else huge, which I would need to talk about that one because it's a struggle. And then I didn't even start because I was like, well, it's kind of the same colors, and I didn't know if I wanted to be doing things too much of the same color, so I didn't even start. So then I was going to start on May, then I started July instead. This one is another one of my favorites. I think January and July were my favorites going into it. So, and it's again called for colors, same fabric, and then I finished it the same way as I did January, just a different color. So these pedestals come from the Wood Connection, and there's one in Layton, Utah. I think there's like 3 of them total in Utah, and they make different wood things that you buy them to paint them, and they have a display at the store that they've like Mod Podge photos or other things like that on them, and so that's where I got the idea to put the cross stitch. And they have like probably the standard frame size of the boards, but I have these ones custom made to fit here. And same with that, well, the little smaller prairie schooler that I showed you from January, that was also, I think that was just one of the stock ones that they had. So anyway, an easy finished. I made one for the the fall one that goes with that summer one that I told you, and I just stained it, and it looked really good stained. Anyway, I may do September next, but I may have too many fall things already to even start that. So, but I would really like to do November this year, and I love the small one and the big one. But I would like to do both of those. That will have me 5 out of 12 done, so almost halfway. But that's why I'd like to do September, so that I can do it. And then I wish I would have done every other month instead of just doing my favorites first, just because then I have 2 months to do it, so it's just the small that I'm working on in between big projects. That's kind of why another reason I did not start August was because I wanted to focus on these other ones more, and I didn't want to feel like I had to have it done by August first. So, but I do like the small as well. I want to do both. We'll see. We will see. Okay, now I'm going to show you what, like my current WIPs. I've got lint on this. Okay, so I told you I finished Consider the Lilies. And then I thought, well, I don't know if I really want to do a Sunday stitch because it was fun. I like just being able to stitch what I want. And when I do a Sunday stitch, I try to work on it. So I teach Sunday school in my church, and there's a whole bunch of podcasts about the lessons that are out there. And so I work on it as I listen to the podcast to like make sure that I know what I'm talking about. This year in our church, we're studying the New Testament, and the last year was Old Testament, which was a little bit hard for me. And so I like to listen to these podcasts to kind of make sure I know exactly, part of my studying, and I'll work on my WIP then. And I thought, well, I don't know if I want to have a specific thing to do during then. And I was working on, this is the day. What is it? Oh, I put it down there. Anyway, I was working on This Is the Day, and I thought, well, that's kind of a Sunday stitch too, even though I didn't get it as intended to be that. So I just worked on that, that was all. But then when I got done with that, I thought, okay, I've got to get back to this one because I need it done. I love it, and it's kind of ridiculous, but it's taken me so long. I started it last year. Well, I wanted it to be my Sunday stitch last year, but I went to Shepherd's Bush, which is my LNS, and they didn't have it, but they had Consider the Lilies, and someone else was buying Consider the Lilies, and I started talking to her, and suddenly I was buying Consider the Lilies, and I went home and started it that day. Oh yeah, and I bought it with all the floss, and then but I still wanted this one. It's this one. All Creatures Great and Small. But I still wanted this one, so I ordered it, and I was like, well, maybe I can switch every other week and work on one and then the other. But that was taking too long, so I had a tiny start, and then just like 2 weeks ago, I picked it back up again. I haven't really done very much on it. But now, it's like, I want to put it down. I don't want to put it down. So, I worked on it this week, I think Sunday and Monday. And, I would like, I think I'm going to start doing it on Saturday and Sunday so that I get 2 days per week. I'll show you what I've got so far. So I always start in the middle. So I started with this wreath, and then I kind of went over here. So this is what I have so far. Not a ton. And I'm obviously working right there on that big pig. There are a bazillion leaves in this. And I haven't counted because I don't think that I really want to know how many there are. When I'm all done, maybe I'll count, because otherwise I'll be like, 3 million is just too many to stitch. So I kind of went down here to do this little house, and I think that was when I decided that I only needed one Sunday stitch per year. So anyway, I am using the call for colors, and I got them on it calls for anchor, and I got them on the rolls, and I do like the rolls. It's not, and then wrapping it around it, I just kind of wrap it around it when I'm done. And it's called for colors, except the color that it calls for this barn, right here, is pretty purpley. And so I changed it to 0200. Somebody had suggested that on Instagram, and I don't remember who it was, but that person had gotten that idea for floss from somebody else who'd gotten it from somebody else. So anyway, that's what I have done. So I would like to get this one finished before Christmas. I seriously doubt it's going to happen. I want to do a Savior's Praise for next year. I can have the pattern. I won't let myself start until I've got this done. My WIPs are out of control. I keep starting new things because I think I should stitch what I want. And then I stitch what I want, and I'm irresponsible about it. So that can't happen anymore. I have to be mature and get stuff done. Because I feel like, well, I paid for it. By the time you buy the linen and the floss and everything, I've got to do it. Plus, I love these things that sometimes I fall out of love with the WIP for one reason or another, but I think I've got to just get it done. Because if I just stitch on what I want to start, I'll be starting anything every single day probably. Okay. So my next thing. This is my problem. I'm obsessed. So I started Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. I actually went to Shepherd's Bush to get fabric for some more fabric to do the prairie schoolers, I ended up buying not only the pattern, the half yard of fabric that it takes, and the shepherd's bush conversion colors that I'm using, all of it, and then coming home and starting it. This is on 32 count straw, so it is a huge piece of fabric. It's kind of been slow going. I have some kind of problem with my left hand, and I think it's from, I'm not sure if it's from holding my Q-snap or if it's from, but it might be also from my phone too, because I've noticed so sometimes when I stitch, I'll stitch in the one hand, but like hold it with this hand, but I like to put my fingers kind of behind it. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, and I did that the other day, and it was really hurting. But I ended up having to buy well, my husband got it for me for my birthday, a wood lap frame so that I could just rest my left hand. And I don't know if it's like arthritis or trigger thumb or what, because it feels kind of stiff, but it hurts like clear up into my wrist. My dad has had both trigger thumb and arthritis. He thinks that this is arthritis, but then other people think it's trigger thumb, so I have no idea. Anyway, that's not the problem. But this has been, just getting used to stitching in the frame has kind of slowed me down, I've noticed. And I think, I don't know, but it's either that or stop stitching. So I have to stitch, and I do like it. It's just, it takes longer when I need to move my Q-snap because I have to unscrew, I mean, not that much longer, but it just seems not as fast to me. I don't know. Anyway, the problem. Here's the big problem. I am obsessed with this one, but I can't decide what to do about the Halloween blocks in it. So let me show you of course I put it in the bag. So, most of you have seen this, but I'll show you in case you haven't. So here's the whole pattern. So I'm working on this pumpkin and this house, or this pumpkin and this house. It's opposite to me on here, what it is to you. Anyway, but these two are Halloween, and I kind of want it to just be all autumn, but I love these two blocks, and so I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure if I should keep these two in, or what. I love Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, but there's two blocks in that I don't love either. And so I thought of taking those out and substituting these two. There is already a cemetery in there, and I still like that one. So I'd want to do both cemeteries, and the main thing is witches, like the center thing is witches. I don't have that pattern, or I would show you. So do I want another witch? I love big statement pieces, and it'll make it bigger, and I like that. And like I said, I really love these two blocks. So I have been looking at all the Hawk Run Hollow patterns to see if there's something else that I want to do. Well, I looked at the Village of Hawk Run Hollow, and I love the school. And like I said, I used to teach school. And I thought, well, because school starts in September, I could put those in here. But the more I looked at that pattern, the more I want to do that whole thing. And I don't want to have that block in two things. So, and I don't really want to stitch that block twice. So I don't know about that. There's the Farms at Hawk Run Hollow, and I don't know that I would stitch that whole thing. And there's one that I for sure love on there. And I don't know what other one I would put that looks kind of fallish. And I don't know that that's one that I would do the entire thing. But and then I look at the houses of Hawk Run Hollow, and there's some that I think, well, I can make kind of fallish. But again, do I want to do that entire thing? So help me decide what to do. Should I just keep these in and do the whole thing? Like I said, I do like it, but do I want Halloween on my wall in November? I don't know. I don't know if it would bug me or not. Probably not. I mean, it wouldn't bug me to have a turkey up in October, but it might bug me to have those up in November. Anyway, do I just do the whole thing like it is? Or do I substitute with one of the other Hot Crown Hollow patterns. What do I do? Do I break down and do the spool twice? I mean, this is a real problem. Every night I'm stitching, and I'm like, and I'm thinking about it as I'm stitching, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got to quick look it up on Instagram, look up all the Hot Crown Hollow patterns again, and see, what can I do, what can I do? Because I feel like if I do the schoolhouse, I kind of want to put it up here and move things down, because school starts like at the beginning of the fall. So like by this little apple tree, it could be good. So, see, and there's also in that one, like a apple cider or something block. I can't remember what it's called, but that could be for fall. But then I don't want to buy like multiple patterns, because the pattern itself are like between $30 and $40. So I don't want to buy these big patterns that I'm only going to use one of the blocks out of. You know, because they're such big patterns. It's kind of like you've got 12 small patterns. Well, in this one, 15, because you've got the top. So you can understand why they're more expensive. But if I'm not going to use the whole thing, I don't want to buy it. So what should I do? You've got to help me. This is like, I'm pondering this every night. More than what we're going to have for dinner. I'm pondering, how am I going to finish Hot Crown Hollow? Because now I need to do all of them. And then I'm always like, maybe I should just start the the Village of Hot Crown Hollow right now. No, I've got to finish one. I had outbought Halloween at Hot Crown Hollow the other day, and had to talk myself out of it because I've got to settle down. I've got to just finish what I've got, which is, like I said, how I got in this mess in the first place. Okay, this is the next one. Let me just show you. This is The Women of the Mayflower by Brenda Gervais. I worked on this the year it came out, which I believe was 2 years ago. I have not touched it since, but I should really get going. I think what kind of thwarted my progress is that this one, here's the picture, it's a fall, I mean, it could be considered fall. You could keep it up all year because it's, you know, the Mayflower, the crossing of the Mayflower, and it was in the fall. But because it's not fall colors, I think I wanted to work on things that were more fall colored, and so I put it away, and then I never got it back out. I'm hoping I can get to more of it this year. I need to put it in a rotation, so I'm working on it like once or twice a week for sure. As I was getting out all these fall projects to see what I already had going, I kept thinking, well, I for sure want this one done this year. I for sure want this one done this year. I'm telling you now, I'm not going to start any fall projects this year because I've got so many in progress. That might not happen, but that's my goal. Okay, the next one is this one. And this is one I really would love to learn how to stitch in hand. And I thought, this has this solid pumpkin. It's a small, it's only, it doesn't say on the cover what it is, maybe. I don't see how, anyway. It's small. It's supposed to be this little pillow size, but it has a lot of stitching because this pumpkin's solid. Anyway, so I thought, well, that would be a good one to practice stitching in hand. I am a terrible in hand stitcher. I don't know what it is, but my stitches just don't look good. So what I've got here is in hand, and I've got to decide if I want to pull those out and start again. I'll try and get it close so you can see how floppy I am. Or if I just want to go with it and stick it in a frame and get it done. So, and this is one that you can only get on Brenda Gervais' site. Okay, this next one. This also was something that I started about 2 years ago and didn't get back to, and I don't know what it is, but I didn't love stitching this at the time. This is, but I love the finished piece, and this is Three Witches by Barbara Anna, and I'm doing the shepherd's bush colors, and they have got the model on their wall, and it is so, so cute. This is all I've got done. They have changed, shepherd's bush has changed out some of the colors on here. So I think one of the witches has a purple dress, and I can't remember what the other might be a blue. Anyway, I really love it. I love the changes. For some reason, I'm not loving stitching on it, and I don't know why, but I think maybe once I have the witches done, and I carried in a bag of flour just before I started, and I feel like I've got flour all over me. Anyway, I think once I start getting these little tiny things done, I'll like it better. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't love stitching it. I think I love to stitch fall things that are fall colored. And the color conversion is brighter than the picture, the colors in the picture. So like that, you can tell it's kind of brighter. But I need to get going on that and see if I can get myself. Sometimes I'll think that I don't love stitching something, and then I'll put it away for a while and get it back out, and suddenly I love it. So I'm hoping that's what happens with some of these. Okay, next is Trick or Treat by the Prairie Schooler. So, and I know that you're thinking, Elizabeth, stop starting new projects, but I can't help it. Well, I can, but I shouldn't. I should not do it. So here is the cover, Trick or Treat. I love these little kids trick or treating on the bottom that you can see here. So I'm going to bring this a little closer. I feel like it's really far away, and I don't know how well, if you're seeing things well. So this is what I have done. This is 32 count Murky by Picture This Plus. So I kind of wanted it like a spooky looking fabric in the back for their trick-or-treating. But I love, love, love these kids trick-or-treating. This is a must finish this year. I think I started this not too long before Halloween last year and then stopped once we got to Halloween. And I do have, the black I'm using is a Color and Cotton. I can't remember what it is. Let's see. Apparently don't have it in here. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Where's my black? Well, I was going to tell you what it was, but, oh, it's Rustic Black from Color and Cotton. And it has, as you can tell, a lot of black in it. So, anyway, I liked the variegation on that. And then I think the rest I'm mostly using the DMC. But I did want the black to have some variegation. So last year, I stitched summer, I think until September. I stitched all summer long. And that was my plan for this year too. But then I wanted to finish the Buzzing of the Bees. Is that what it's called? The Blackbird one that came out last year that has the brick house and the beehive. Anyway, I really love it, and that was going to be my next focus piece. And then it all stopped when I went to Shepherd's Bush and bought Hawk Run Hollow. So, that's how my plans usually work. Okay, this one I also started last year and got not much done and stopped. I don't know why, and I liked stitching it. But it's funny, so this is not my usual style, but I love it. It's funny because I feel like all of the Primrose ones are a different style than what I usually do, but I love them. And so this is Autumn Rolls. I did not get much done on here. That's all I've got. Autumn Rolls and Go Apple, and it should say Picking. So this shouldn't be take too long to stitch. And I'm using the Shepherd's Bush compression for this one. I think it calls for DMC. Yep, it calls for DMC. And I also have the Christmas Rolls, which was another one that I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to stitch it. And then I saw other people stitching it, and suddenly was stitching it. I may stick this back in one of my Q snaps to work on next because I really like it, and it's something I can hang up from September to Thanksgiving. I start decorating like as soon as the kids go back for fall because first of all, I have to have something to make me not as sad. I feel like once school starts, it's like my kids get a year older. Not just on their birthday, but like another year in school. So I'm really not happy that I have another senior this year. I would like my kids to just stay little. And anyway, so decorating for fall early is my consolation prize to having my kids grow up, I guess. Okay, so my next one is Bounty Sampler. This is my last one, actually. Bounty Sampler by Plum Street. And I thought I was a lot further along than this. Yet again, I'm not. All of these I started like last year. So I swear when COVID hit, it made me have some kind of startitis thing. Like it made me kind of feel frantic. And I feel like before then I would maybe have a couple WIPs. But then COVID hit. And it made me want to start everything. And I was like, it's a pandemic. I can do what I want. I can't change some things about the pandemic, but I can start whatever I want. And so I did. And so now I've got 10 million waves. But most of these fall ones are just from last year. So this is what I've got done so far. Not quite halfway. But I love it, and I love the colors. I love the scarecrow. And I do think I could, it has little, I mean the scarecrow kind of looks like pilgrims. It has this girl down here too. But I still feel, and a turkey, but I still feel like I could have it out all fall. And I'd really like to get this one done this year. Because I still said about everything. I know it's a problem. So anyway, those are my plans for the next few months, is to get as much done as I can. I'm not a huge fan of Christmas stitching. Christmas just feels stressful to me. I just feel stressed out about it. Like, getting everything done, I feel like I have to meet people, not just my own family's expectations, but the extended family have a lot of expectations about how many activities we're going to do together, and it stresses me out. And so I don't love Christmas or Christmas stitching. And I've got a bag right here, and I don't know what it belongs to. One of my stitching things probably, but it's bugging me. Anyway, sorry. But I feel, so Christmas stresses me out, and so I don't end up stitching a lot of Christmas. So I think I have one Christmas WIP, and then all these. So, but I probably won't start Christmas stitching until after Thanksgiving. And let's see, and then I'll start again with winter. And I'm going to try to work on one thing until, not one thing, but maybe have two things and work on it till it's done before I go to the next WIP. So I need you to hold me to that because it probably won't happen. Anyway, like I said, I'm Elizabeth of the Silver Scissor, and it's the Silver, I think it's the Silver Scissor Sews on Instagram. So I'd love it to have you follow me. I would love to have you help me know what to do about Hot Run Hollow, because I really love it. Which is funny because I didn't really love Hot Run Hollow at first when I started, like when I came back to stitching. But now I love them and I want to do them all. Anyway, help me decide what to do about Hot Run Hollow. And yeah, I think that's about all I have for today. But it's so good to see you and talk to you. And I'll be back before 2 years are up. And I'll see you later. Bye.